हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम बैक टू द स्टूडियो। स्वागत आप सभी का। तो लैंडमार्क डिसीजन यहाँ पे हुआ है, उसको देखेंगे दोस्तों। बहुत पॉजिटिव अपडेट है। फाइनली द जो हॉनरेबल कोर्ट का डिसीजन है दैट इज क्लियरली इन फेवर। सो वी विल सी दैट हेयर क्या है पूरा अपडेट, उसको जानने की कोशिश करेंगे इस वीडियो के माध्यम से। सो लैंडमार्क डिसीजन बाय द हॉनरेबल बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट। सो जो मैटर है दैट इज़ इन रिलेशन टू द जो स्पेशल अलाउंस है दोस्तों। आपको पता होगा स्पेशल अलाउंस का नाम ही स्पेशल है, और उसकी वजह से जो पेंशन के बेनिफिट्स हैं वो ऑलमोस्ट ख़त्म हो रहे हैं। बट उसी के चलते अभी हॉनरेबल कोर्ट की तरफ से जो लैंडमार्क डिसीजन दिया गया है बाय द हॉनरेबल बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट, दैट स्पेशल अलाउंस को यहाँ पे इंक्लूड करना चाहिए इन द पे फिक्सेशन फॉर द डीए कैलकुलेशंस। सो दिस इज़ अ वेरी बिग विक्ट्री हेयर। क्या है पूरा अपडेट, तो देखते हैं यहाँ पे। इन द हॉनरेबल हाई कोर्ट of jurisdiction at Bombay bench at Aurangabad. So writ petition number 175 of 21 with civil application number 1982 by 22 and WP 175 by 21. So friends, here you can see the Adarsh Kumar Jain ji, age 58 years. Mr. Pavan Kumar Singh is 44 years. So they have petitioners versus obviously the Union of India, Joint Secretary, the Debt Recovery Tribunal Aurangabad. So advocate for the petitioners वो भी आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं, लिस्ट काफ़ी बड़ी है। सॉरी, मिस्टर अविनाश एस देशमुख जी। सो जो जजमेंट है, सो हर्ड रूल, so rule is made returnable forthwith. The learned advocate Mr. Dev waives service for respondent number 1 to 3. So at the joint request of the parties, the matter is heard finally at the stage of admission. The issue that is involved in the petition is as to whether the petitioners, who are employees of various nationalized banks who have been sent on deputation to respondent number 3, a debt recovery tribunal established under the Recovery of Debt and Bankruptcy 1993, were entitled to claim fixation of their pay by including inter alia special allowance. So ये है। सो यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं थर्ड पॉइंट में, द पिटिशन नंबर 1 joined as a clerical in PNB on 6 November 17. The petitioner number 2 joined as a law officer under Syndicate Bank on 18th of December 6, 2006, and petition number 3 was appointed as SSI field officer in Allahabad Bank on 23rd March 92. So they were sent on deputation having opted thereof on 6 November 2017, 30th June 20 and 19th of August 2019. So before deputation they were going and getting the salaries including the special allowances on which durance allowance was being assessed and calculated, right? So by the impulsed communication circular issued by Under Secretary to Government of India dated 1st October 20, by referring to a clarification letter issued by the then Under Secretary to Government of India in Ministry of Finance dated 24th of November 2009, and by referring to Department of DOPT Office Memorandum and particularly para 4.1, it was directed that special allowance was not pay and was also not to be treated as pay for the purpose of determining the pension. So ये है यहाँ पे फोर्थ पॉइंट, काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट। So as per the BPS settlement dated 25th of May 2015, it is this communication which is being challenged by the petitioners, and they are soliciting a writ of prohibition not to make recoveries, so seeking a declaration that they are entitled to special allowance as part of their pay. Mr. Deshmukh ji for petitioners would take us through the aforementioned communication as well as the bipartite settlement dated 25th May 2015. So he would submit that it is pursuant to the communication dated 24th November 2009 that it was specifically directed by the Ministry of Finance that fixation of pay of employees of various banks who were deputed to Debt Recovery Tribunal or Debt Recovery Appellate Tribunal should be done by including this special allowance. This special allowance. So, since basic pays were directed to be added with stagnation increment, professional qualification pay, fixed personal pay, on which the dearness allowance were being paid, were to be fixed as a basic pay. So, looking at the incentive, only the petitioners and similarly placed employees could have opted for being sent on deputations to DRT and DRATs. So he would submit that these should not have been any confusion, the bipartite settlement being relied upon. The respondents also expressly stipulated that the bank employees would be entitled to have a dearness allowance calculated on the basic pay, several other allowances, increments, as well as special allowances. So, without there being any reason, the impugned calculations was fixed, expressly mentioning that the special allowance was not a pay and was not to be treated as such for the purpose of determining pension and other pensionary benefits. So, in fact, the settlement of 2015 expressly laid down in the definition of pay the components which are to be considered for extending superannuation benefits, other components which are to be considered for assessment of dearness allowances, and again the component would which shall be considered for assessing of house rent allowance. So he would therefore submit that so the special allowance would not be a component to be added. तो ये है यहाँ पे लास्ट पॉइंट में. So Mr. Deshmukh would submit the pursuant to be imposed communication that petitioner have put have been put to loss in the aggregate salary they are being paid while on deputation with DRT and DRAT, so which could not have been the purpose of scheme. So where the bank employees were requestioned to man the DRTs and DRATs. सो यहाँ पे जो डिसीज़न है दोस्तों वो बड़ा ही इम्पॉर्टेंट है. द learned advocate Mr. Dev, referring to the affidavit in reply to respondent number 1 and 2 and surrejoinder filed by them, submit that the petitioners are confusing between the special pay and special allowance. So special allowance was never to part of the pay. So even the BPS deals with special allowance separately and not as a pay but as its component. So it is an attempt to mislead the court. However, he would not dispute the employee of the bank like the petitioners are entitled to have a special allowance as per the settlement. So he would submit that the impugned communication is mere reiteration or a clarification and does not seek to change the extent scenario where the petitioners were drawn for serving the DRTs and DRATs. So he would submit that special allowance was never meant to be merged with basic salary and no fault can be found with the impugned communications. So Mr. Dev would lastly submit that it is only pursuant to the option exercised by the petitioners on being shown their readiness to be sent on deputation at their respective banks. So ये है पूरा official update friends. So अगर if any of the friends have any doubt so आप यहाँ पे वीडियो को पॉज करके भी देख सकते हैं. So that's all for the session. So kindly share the update, subscribe to the channel friends.